The first of many Disney bombs in 2025 is not but a couple of weeks away from release. Captain Black Falcon America Man Brave New World is not but a few weeks out, and well, it's interesting because we're starting to get more details. We just recently talked about the projected opening weekend and how it looks very similar. Hey guys, look at hey, we know that we're taking a very bold step by having a Captain America movie without Captain America, but hey, at least it's holding and it's going to have a similar opening weekend to Winter Soldier. Don't mind the fact that that came out 11 years ago, which, hey, do you feel old yet? 11 years ago was 2014. That's wild to think about, but we've arrived, well, just about have, in regards to Cap 4. And we've got some new information, and a lot of it is quite damning, because with those projections, we know that, this movie, man, like, it's cooked when it comes to turning a profit. It needs to make $1 billion to break even. It needs to make $1 billion to prove that Sam Wilson, even though he's a good character, people like him as Falcon, people generally have a positive opinion of Anthony Mackie as an actor. It's just this storyline and the way that the MCU was trending. It's like Bucky should have got the shield. This should have been about the Winter Soldier becoming Captain America. But no, you made that stupid Captain Black Falcon Winter Soldier story a few years back. And now you're trying to recontextualize that horrific plot, that horrific story, and make it make sense in order to try to set up and shamble together some type of an Avengers squad. Oh my god, you gotta do better, Disney. But hey, on the bright side, at least you won't be in the theaters that long if you're deciding to journey out there, because the runtime shows, yes, it's the shortest yet most expensive Captain America movie to date. It's not the shortest MCU movie, okay? I do believe that title still belongs with the Marvels, but it's also going to be in that same category in so much as it's under 2 hours, which is wild to think about, okay? But what's even more insane is it costs not one, not two, but $3 million per minute of screen time. It's wild to think about, okay? Because I've been seeing some breakdowns and stuff, and shout out to Random Film Talk, who I think is, one of the best YouTubers that's out there, okay, breaking down Rings of Power. He put out like just about a 6-hour long final autopsy for season 2 that I've watched a couple of times now. It's fantastic stuff. But he did a breakdown of what it cost for producing the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the Hobbit trilogy, and also Rings of Power. And to produce Rings of Power, okay, with all the rights fees and everything else that they put into that cost 1.5 or just about 1.5 million dollars per minute of screen time that we've seen before. Remember, that is 2 seasons, okay? That is just about 21 hours of content. $1.5 million per minute. Just bizarre amounts of money. But as it sits right now, it's not exactly the most expensive per minute produced. The Hobbit trilogy is slightly more, but the CGI, and I just recently watched those films for the first time, most of the CGI is better, but there's so much CGI, and this weekend I'm actually running it back because there's some criticisms, and there's some stuff in the back of my head that's just really itching and scratching, and I need to satisfy that, and I'll go back and see it. But a bunch of it was convincing, and a lot of it was quite good. Just the orcs and the wargs are just awful, especially when I just watched Lord of the Rings this past weekend. Bro, it's wild to think that shit came out 25 years ago. It's so insane. It's always going to look good. There's so much practical merged with selected digital shots, and the Balrog is always going to look amazing. Anyways, let's talk about how it costs $3 million a minute to put out this piece of shit that's going to be lucky to make $300 million. Marvel Studios is gearing up to release Captain America Brave New World, but early revelations about its runtime and budget are raising eyebrows across the industry. At just 118 minutes long, yes, 1 hour 58 minutes, if you will. The film will be the shortest Captain America movie to date, yet its budget has reportedly ballooned to a staggering $350 million. Yeah, and eventually we'll see the tax documents, because I think a portion of this, at least some of it, was shot in the UK, so we'll eventually see what goes on. It's also been in development, and it's been in production for years at this point, so who knows, man. That means, yes, it cost a jaw-dropping $2.9 million per minute of runtime. Yeah, and that could end up exponentially going up, because what else did we learn thanks to tax documents? Oh, the Acolyte didn't cost $180 million, $230 million. Doctor Strange Mom, Multiverse of Madness, it wasn't $200 million. It was 270. It was something insane. Whenever these budgets get leaked or reported, chances are, or at least accurate, or they're underselling how much they wasted on this disposable crap. But yes, the 350 is the low-end projection, with some outlets believing the latest MCU project could get up to as much as $375 million. The high-end figure would put the per-minute cost to $3.1 million. So yeah, for context, here's how Brave New World stacks up against its predecessors in both length and cost per minute. So for First Avenger, 124 minutes. I like that movie quite a bit. For $140 million budget, $1.1 million per minute, which $140 million? That's kind of crazy. Is that adjusted for inflation? And then the Winter Soldier, 136 with a 170 budget, 1.2, and then Civil War, 148 minutes, $250 million budget. But yeah, that's kind of a soft Avengers movie because there's a lot of stuff that's in there, and it's also quite possibly one of the best MCU movies that's out there. At least it's held in high regard by a bunch of people. So yeah, $1.6 million per minute. So yeah, you're looking at something, okay? And for as many characters and cameos and key jangles as Brave New World is going to have, it's not going to be worth twice as much as Tony Stark's Iron Man, the introduction of MCU Spider-Man and Black Panther. I don't really think that's going to be on same playing field, okay? Just because you have Harrison Ford being Red Hulk, yeah, okay. And it's wild to note that the film actually surpasses Civil War. Yes, a nearly 2.5 hour long blockbuster featuring an assemble Avengers cast with Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, and in budget and cost per minute. And yeah, you know they're getting desperate when for the first time in a long time we can talk about Marvel and Disney trying to placate to China, because we got the new international, we got the Chinese poster that's out there, and well, what can you see? Well, at least, hey man, they're getting a little bit bold when it comes to this, because at least put a black guy on the poster for China, even though they don't have him facing the screen, even though they have his face under the shield, and it's a very much ancillary to the overall marketing, because you guys like, oh my god, why is there a Hulk? Why is he red? Are they really trying to pander to us that much? And why is it called Captain America 4 over here? I don't get that. But also just showing how desperate they are. Disney attempts to ride Marvel rivals' coattail, announces Regal Cinema pre-sale tickets for Captain America Brave New World will come with an exclusive in-game skin. But as you can see, Captain America is Steve Rogers. That full stop. I could just make that claim right there. But he's also Steve Rogers in Rivals, which is still wildly successful. How are they going to have a Captain America skin for Rivals? It's going to be interesting to see how many people use that and how many people get it and claim it. And well, that's one way to boost the box office numbers. As Rivals continues to set the video game world ablaze, Disney has moved to cash in on the hero shooter's current popularity by offering an exclusive in-game item bundle, yes, to any and all Regal Cinema patrons who purchase a ticket to see the upcoming and largely unwanted Captain America Brave New World. Now, if this was a better film and this wasn't such a desperate tactic, this would be smart marketing, okay, tying in with something that is wildly successful, that is at least somewhat connected to your cinematic franchise, because you used to have, okay, I remember, I'm old enough to remember tie-in video game movies, okay? Speaking about Lord of the Rings, okay, they have some of the best tie-in movie games. I played the shit out of Return of the King. Oh my god, that was so great. How you could have, like, Gandalf was so overpowered, or maybe it was just the one that I played the most, okay? Because you could also have Legolas, or did you have to unlock Gandalf afterwards? Maybe that's why it was so OP. But yeah, you could play as Aragorn, Gimli, or Legolas, and going through, because wasn't it the Doors of Durin that you'd have to go up, and then eventually, you know, you'd get to the end of the game and everything would start off. I think you started off with the Battle of Helm's Deep, and then you eventually worked your way up to the Black Gate. I think that's the way that it worked. Oh god, I can't remember if I bought that game or if I just rented it obsessively. I digress. You know, there were a lot of really good movie tie-in games, but there were also some really bad ones. And then throughout the entirety, during the popularity of the MCU, they didn't have a single good Marvel game. It's amazing how they failed to capitalize on the popularity of video games at the time of Marvel's absolute dominance in the theaters. Yeah, okay, you did have one. Okay, you had Insomniac's Spider-Man game, but it was a PlayStation exclusive. Like, what are you doing? That's the only thing that you have. For even as bad as those DC movies were, you had great video games over there. You had the Batman Arkham series just completely and totally dominating. But you're telling me that you couldn't have a Iron Man Armored Core type thing going? Like, what are you doing, dude? But as any game, comic book, or a general Marvel fan who has been on the internet recently can attest, the NetEase developed Marvel Rivals has been an absolute talk of the digital town ever since its release in December of 2024, largely thanks to both its fresh and stylish take on the hero shooter genre, as well as a genuine dedication to respecting its source material. Because yeah, when everybody was the freaks that were out there were losing their mind about the Invisible Woman skin, it was actually something that apparently happened in the comics, or that's evil Invisible Woman, the Malice skin that's out there. Okay, I don't know much about the Fantastic Four. I'm not one of these Puritans that are out there just saying you need to adhere to the source material at all times. If you have a smart story to tell with the characters that are there, you just go ahead and do it. I don't care, okay? I'm not going to take points against something for being true to the source material or take it away if it detracts. As long as it's a good story in the medium that it's trying to tell, I'm fine with that. And Marvel Rivals has very hyper stylized characters, and I appreciate them for that. It's obviously hitting, still getting 600,000 players, and they have a clear trajectory moving forward, which is something we definitely cannot say about the MCU. Sentiments surrounding Brave New World have not been quite as popular between its adaptation of the comic book premise that most don't care for, its continual reshoots, and that's a reason why you have a $375 million budget, because this film has been shot at least 2.5 goddamn times. But yeah, you're also replacing one of the faces of the MCU with his sidekick that most people aren't gonna know. These are normie people thinking that they're gonna go see a Steve Rogers Captain America film and then wondering, what's Falcon here? What are we doing? Because even if they did watch, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that shit was 3 years ago. 3+ years ago. I mean, this film is so doomed. And the fact that they're trying to trick people in or entice them to come into the theater, hey, you can get a skin for Rivals, you can get a nameplate, a spray, and a mystery costume. Yeah, that's all wonderful and fantastic. It's just when your Captain America looks like that and you're trying to sell a skin based on a character that looks like that, it's a little bit incongruent, and it's going to end up flopping just as bad, if not worse, than the movie itself. Yeesh. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.